Hello, friends. Hello. So, yesterday we had seen kinetic theory of gases, kinetic theory of gases, and in that, an equation for the pressure of a gas enclosed in a container or enclosed in a cube, and also we had seen an equation for root mean square velocity and the comparison with the root mean square velocity and the velocity of sound in air. Now, today we'll see the interpretation of temperature with kinetic theory. Interpretation of temperature in kinetic theory. Interpretation of temperature in kinetic theory. Interpretation of temperature in kinetic theory. So here we know that an equation for pressure which is given by which we had obtained last time, PV is equal to 1 by 3 capital N into small n into V bar square. V bar square. Where P is the pressure of the gas, P is the pressure of the gas, V is the volume of the gas, capital V is the volume of the gas, N is the total number of molecules in a gas, small m with the mass of a single molecule, and V bar square, this is the mean square velocity. This is the mean square velocity. So here, our aim is to find out a relationship with the temperature and kinetic energy. So first of all, we will find out the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy, average kinetic energy, translational kinetic energy is given by half mv square. This is the basic equation for the kinetic energy of a particle. So here, as the velocity is mean square velocity, so I will take it as mean square velocity. So average translational kinetic energy is half mv bar square. So actually what happened, all the particles are non-interacting. All the particles are non-interacting, and that's why the potential energy is absent. Means potential energy in this case is equal to 0. And what happened because of this, the whole energy or the entire energy is only the kinetic energy. Entire energy is only the kinetic energy. And so for that, let us find out the kinetic energy in this equation. So here, this is PV is equal to 1 by 3. So I will write it as PV is equal to. So 1 by 3, instead of 1 by 3, I will write it as 2 by 3. Okay, 2 by 3 and into n into, here I will write V bar square upon 2. V bar square upon 2. Means I have multiplied by 2 and divided by 2. So it will get cancelled, so it makes no difference. Okay. So 2 by 3 into Nm V bar square upon 2. So how will you arrange it? How will you arrange it? So see here, this is 2 by 3. 2 by 3. Okay. N. Keep it as it is. Into half. This one divided by 2 means half and V bar square. So this is our rearrangement. This is this what we have done. We are rearranged our basic equation for pressure, which is given by P V is equal to 1 by 3 Nm V bar square. Actually, it is P equal to 1 by 3 Nm upon V into V bar square. So when we take the cross multiplication, this V which is in the denominator, it comes into numerator on the other side. Okay, so here this factor is the kinetic energy. This is kinetic energy. As there are n number of molecules, so average entire kinetic energy is equal to n times 1 by 2 mv bar square. When we consider a single particle, its kinetic energy is given by half mv bar square. But if there are n number of molecules, then the total kinetic energy is given by n into 1 by 2 mv square. And this energy is denoted by capital E. This energy is denoted by capital E. So I will write it as capital E is equal to n into 1 by 2 mv bar square. Okay. So if you substitute this value in this equation, then what happened? PV is equal to 2 by 3. Keep it as it is, 2 by 3. And this whole bracket is replaced by capital E. So into capital E. Means PV is equal to 2 by 3 into E. This is our equation. Now our aim is to find out a relationship between the entire energy and the temperature. So for that, we have to convert this PV in terms of temperature. So how will you find out this? So actually here we have one equation, PV is equal to RT. For 1 mole of gas, ideal gas, it is PV is equal to RT, which is equal to, instead of R, I can write it as N A into K B, where this KB is the Boltzmann constant. This KB is the Boltzmann constant, and N into KB and T, keep it as it is. So PV can be replaced by RT, and this R can be replaced by N, means number of molecules, total number of molecules in the gas, into KB, where K suffix B is the Boltzmann constant that we have seen earlier while we have started this topic. Okay, so N into KB into T. Now, so N into KB into T, and we know that PV is equal to this equation. PV is equal to 2 by 3 in T. So this equation, it takes the form PV is equal to N into KB, okay, into T is equal to 2 by 3 into E. 2 by 3 into E. So here, our aim is to find out E. So how will you find out this E? So E is equal to, what you will get? If you take the cross multiplication, then E is equal to. Transfer this 3 on left hand side, so it is 3. 2 again here, 3 by 2. So it is 2 by 3, it becomes 3 by 2 into N into KB into T. So E equal to 3 by 2 N into KB into T. And our aim is to find out kinetic energy per molecule. This is equal to, if you transfer this N on this side, then this will be E by N, E upon N. Kinetic energy per molecule, this is equal to 3 by 2 KB into T. So here you can see this is a constant. So constant into T. T is the absolute temperature. So this indicates that the kinetic energy per molecule is directly proportional to the absolute temperature of the gas. is directly proportional to the absolute temperature of the gas, and here to the kinetic energy of the molecule. So this is about the relationship between the kinetic energy and the absolute temperature. So from this, what we can say, the kinetic energy is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. Kinetic energy per molecule is directly proportional to the absolute temperature of the gas. Okay, this is interpretation of temperature in kinetic theory of gases. So here, our aim is to study the degree of freedom. Degree of freedom. Degree of freedom. So actually, in this discussion, while deriving so earlier, I have not sorry. So in the earlier discussion, we have considered that the molecules are moving in all possible direction. The molecules are moving in all possible direction, and so here there are three possible directions because this is three-dimensional system. Here the molecules are moving towards the direction of x-axis, towards the direction of y-axis, towards the direction of z-axis. Means here, in order to find out the location, and the motion of a particle, we require three coordinates. In order to find out the location, we require three coordinates, x, y, and z. And in order to find out its motion, we require three components of velocity. Three components of velocity that are Vx, Vy, and Vz. So here the degree of freedom is equal to 3. Here the degree of freedom is equal to 3 because in order to find out the location of a particle, we require the three coordinates, and also we require three component of velocity, and then we can find out the motion of a particle in three-dimensional system. So here this degree of freedom is equal to 3. If it is two-dimensional system, then we require only two coordinates. Suppose it is xy, so we require only x and y. These are the two coordinates, and we require only the two components of velocity, vx and vy. So here there is a degree of freedom is equal to 2, because in order to find out the location and the motion of a particle, we require only two coordinates and two components of velocity. That's why here the degree of freedom is equal to 2. And if it is a straight line, then we require only the x coordinate. Okay, and we require only velocity. There is no question about the component of velocity, as it is a linear motion, means as it takes place along a straight line. So therefore we require only one variable, okay, v. Here we require two variables of velocity. Here we require three components of velocity. So here the degree of freedom is equal to 1. Here the degree of freedom is equal to 1. So from this discussion, what we can say, we can define the degree of freedom of a system. The degree of freedom of a system in which the total number of coordinates the total number of coordinates are independent quantities. Independent quantities required to locate the position of a particle and its configuration of the system is called as the degree of freedom. In simple way, what we can say, the degree of freedom is nothing but the total number of coordinates. The total number of coordinates are the total number of independent quantities required to describe the position of a particle. Required to describe the position of a particle and its configuration completely is called as degree of freedom. मतलब उसका जो पोजीशन है वो ढूंढ के निकालने के लिए जितने भी कोऑर्डिनेट्स हमें चाहिए, और दूसरी बात क्या है, व्हेन इट इज इन मोशन then we require the various independent quantities, and in that case if you count this will give us the degree of freedom. So degree of freedom of a system can be defined as the total number of coordinates or the independent quantities required to describe the position and configuration of the system. It's called as degree of freedom. Okay, so now the next article is Mayer's relation. Mayer's relation. This Mayer's relation, it gives an idea about, or it is the relationship between the two specific heats. So actually, before starting this article, you should know the specific heat. Specific heat means the quantity of heat energy. The quantity of heat energy required for a unit mass of a substance or gas. Unit mass of a substance or gas through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin to raise the temperature. This specific heat of a substance or gas can be defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a gas or substance through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay? 1 Kelvin is called as the specific heat of the substance. मतलब कोई भी सब्सटेंस का टेम्परेचर 1 डिग्री से बढ़ाने के लिए जो भी हीट एनर्जी लगती है, या 1 डिग्री केल्विन से जो भी हीट एनर्जी लगती है, that we call it as the specific heat of the substance. So specific heat of a substance can be defined as the quantity of heat energy required to raise its temperature through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay, that we call it as the specific heat. So here this Mayer's relation, it gives the relationship between Cp and Cv. Cp and Cv. What is Cp? Cp is the specific heat of a gas at constant pressure. And specific, so what is Cv? Cv is the specific heat of a gas at constant volume. Because whenever there is a slight change in temperature, there is a considerable change in pressure and volume. So that's why it is not possible to observe the changes in pressure and volume simultaneously. So for that, what we do, for our convenience, we keep one variable at a constant value, okay, and then observe the change in the another one. And when you keep the another variable at a constant value and observe the change in the first one, means In order to observe the change in pressure and volume, you have to keep one variable at a constant value. So, when you keep the pressure at a constant value, it is called as specific heat at constant pressure. When you keep the volume at a constant value, we call it as specific heat at constant volume. And this relationship is given by Maer's relation. Okay. So, for that, let us consider a unit mole of a gas, 1 mole of a gas. So 1 mole of a gas. So this gas is filled in a container. This is the container. Okay? And here there is the piston. Here this is the piston. Okay? Frictionless piston. And gas is filled inside this container. So what happened? When you impart the heat energy, to this gas container, then we know that whenever there is slight change in temperature, there is a change in pressure as well as in volume. So initially, what we'll do, we'll keep this volume at a constant value. Means we keep this piston fixed. Okay, so that the volume of the gas it remains constant. So initially, when you impart the heat energy to this container, then our aim is to find out the energy absorbed by the gas molecule. So when the heat energy is supplied to this gas, the gas molecule absorbs the heat energy, and because of that there is an increase in the internal energy of the particles, internal energy of the molecules, and that is denoted by dq, dq1. We denote it by dq1. So dq1, this is the energy, internal energy increase in the internal energy of the molecules, which is shown by dq1. And our aim is to find out the quantity of internal energy has been increased. Actually, as it is the internal energy, we denote it by dE. Means whenever we impart the heat energy to any substance, so what happened? The molecules receive the energy, and as the molecule receive the energy, the internal energy of the molecules goes on increasing. Okay, and that we denote it by dE. So dQ1 is the energy imparted to the container. dE is the internal energy. This is equal to mass of gas. So here we have considered 1 mole of the gas. 1 mole of the gas. So 1 into specific heat. Specific heat is CV, because this piston is fixed. Piston is not moving either in the upward direction or in the downward direction. Means there is no motion of the piston. Piston is fixed, and that's why the volume of the gas it remains constant. CV is the specific heat at constant volume. Then into dt, where dt is the rise in temperature. Because when we impart the heat energy, then what happened? The temperature of the system goes on increasing, and suppose the rising temperature is dt. This is the unit mass of a gas, or 1 mole of a gas. CV is the specific heat. Actually, the formula is ms into d theta. This is the formula for the calculation of internal energy. M is the mass, S is the specific heat, and d theta is the rising temperature. So here you got this CV into dt. Get this CV into dt. Okay, dQ1 is equal to P is equal to CV dt is equal to CV into dt. This is the energy absorbed by the gas molecule when it is heated through a temperature dt. Now this is the situation when we heat the gas at constant volume. Now suppose suppose this piston is free to move in the upward direction. Suppose it is free to move in the upward direction. So again, in the second case, if you impart the heat energy to the same gas, okay, so its temperature is raised through the same temperature, that is dt. Again, the rise in temperature is dt. But in this case, what happens? This piston is free to move in the upward direction. Means, as it moves in the upward direction, what happened? There is expansion in the gas. There is expansion in the gas. Initially, in the first case, as the piston is fixed, so there is no expansion of the gas. Now, as the piston is free to move in the upward direction, suppose it has been moved to this position. This is the new position. So, what happened? The gas has been expanded. So, this is the increase in gas. This is the increase in gas. And suppose the displacement of the piston is through a distance dx. समझो क्या होगा, जो पिस्टन है वो dx डिस्टेंस से ऊपर की ओर है. Okay, and now there is an increase in the volume as there is an expansion. So in this case, suppose dq2, this is the heat energy imparted. This is the heat energy imparted to the gas. Okay, dq2 in the second case, this is equal to, this is equal to. This heat energy is utilized into two ways. Initially, in the first case, what happened? This whole energy, it has been used to increase the internal energy only. Means here, the whole energy is utilized to increase the internal energy only. But here in the second case, what happened? Some part of the imparted heat energy is utilized to increase the internal energy of the gas molecule. Okay, as the rise in temperature is same, naturally this dE also same. Okay, so dE is the internal energy, increase in the internal energy, and also there is some work done. Because the piston, it has been moved in the vertically upward direction. In the backward direction, there is expansion of the gas, and as there is expansion of the gas, it means that there is a work done. There is a work done, and this work done is noted by dW. This is the basic difference between the two cases. When we heat the gas, initially the entire energy, heat energy, is utilized to increase the internal energy. In the second case, some part of the supplied heat energy is utilized to increase the internal energy as well as to do the work done. To do the work done in moving the piston in the upward direction. Then what we'll do? dE is equal to, here just we obtain dE is equal to CVD. So what I will write is dE is equal to CVD. Okay, into plus this dE is equal to CVD plus dW. Keep it as it is. But dQ2, this dQ2 is the heat energy imparted to the gas, and it is equal to, again by using the same formula, what you will get? Mass is what? Into specific heat. This is the specific heat at constant pressure. This is the pressure of the gas, it remains constant. In the first case, the pressure changes, volume is constant. In the second case, pressure is constant, whereas there is a change in volume. So this is specific heat at constant pressure, Cp, into rising temperature is dT. Okay, this is one. Then our aim is to find out this dW. dW is equal to what? Force into displacement. Force into displacement S. So S, this is the displacement dx. So force is equal to, force can be replaced by force can be replaced by pressure P equal to force per unit area, or F is equal to P into A, means pressure into area into S. Okay, pressure into area into S. So if area, this is the area, what we can say, pressure, force is equal to pressure into area into this displacement S. Displacement, what we can say. Okay. So pressure is P. Pressure is P. Then into area of the piston is say A square. Area of the piston is say S square into displacement is ds. Displacement into ds. So area into height. This is the height. This is actually height, and this is the area of the piston, which is equal to A square. So A square into this height is nothing but the expanded volume. So it's nothing but this volume. So what we call it as change in volume. This is nothing but P into dV. This is change in volume. This is change in volume. Area into height is nothing but volume. So this dW can be replaced by PdV. dW can be replaced by PdV. So dQ2 is equal to Cp dt. So I will rewrite it down. Cp dt. This is equal to, okay, dQ2. Instead of dV, I will write Cv dt. Cv dt. Instead of dW, I will write P into dV. P into, okay. So P into dV. So how will you replace P into dV? For an ideal gas, PV is equal to RT. For an ideal gas, PV is equal to RT. Okay. But as there is a change in volume, so it is PdV. This is equal to RdT. Because R is constant, pressure is also constant. So as there is a change in volume, naturally there will be a change in temperature. Or as there is a change in temperature, naturally there is a change in volume. So PdV can be replaced by RdT. So CVdT plus this is RdT, okay, is equal to CVdT. So dt will get cancelled on both sides, and if you transfer this Cv on the left hand side, so what you get, Cp minus Cv, this is equal to R. This is equal to R. So this is nothing but the Maer's relation. This is nothing but the Maer's relation, which gives us an idea about the change in two specific heats, the specific heat at constant pressure and the specific heat at constant volume. So here you can see this difference is positive. This difference is positive because Cp is always greater than Cv. Cp is always greater than Cv because here you can see this specific heat at constant pressure. When we impart the heat energy, it has been utilized in two ways, means to increase the internal energy as well as to do the external work, to move the piston. So that's why Cp dt is always greater than Cv dt. Okay, so the specific heat at constant pressure is always greater than the specific heat at constant volume. Now, here this heat energy means the internal energy or the heat energy supplied is in the terms of calories. Is in the terms of calories, and the work done is in the terms of joule. So calories and joules. So in order to equalize the units, what we do, we write here Cp minus Cv is equal to R upon J, where J is the mechanical equivalent of heat. And then we can modify this equation because here the energy is the heat energy is measured in terms of calories, work done is measured in terms of joule. To equalize the units, we have to use this mechanical equivalent of heat, and so we write it as Cp minus Cv is equal to R upon J. R upon J. Now here Cp, this is called as molar specific heat. Cp and Cv, these are molar specific heat. These are molar. These are molar specific heat. Means this equation is in the form of molar specific heat at constant pressure and molar specific heat at constant volume. Okay. Now we can find out the same equation in terms of principal specific heat. So principal specific heat is given by, we can use another equation, or here I will write actually this Cp is equal to M0 into Sp. What is Sp? Sp is the principal specific heat. Sp is the principal specific heat. In some textbook, it is shown by small Cp. This is capital Cp, and this principal specific heat is denoted by small Cp. But here in your textbook, this symbol is introduced. Sp means it is denoted for, it is used to denote the specific heat at constant pressure, but this is principal specific heat, and this is M0. M0 is the molar mass of the gas. So now molar mass of the gas is represented by M0. Sp is the principal specific heat, and hence this Sp is equal to Cp divided by M0. Cp divided by M0 means you can convert this principal specific heat by using this equation. Principal specific heat is equivalent to molar specific heat divided by molar mass of the gas. Now, how will you find out the relationship? So instead of Cp, I will write M0 into principal specific heat minus, similarly for Cv, it is again M0 into Sv. Because we have the similar equation for Cv is equal to M0 and Sv, or Sv is equal to Cv divided by M0. This is equal to R upon G. If you take out this M0 as a common, then what you will get? M0 into Sp minus Sv is equal to R by G. Or if you transfer this M0 on that side, then what you will get? Sp minus Sv. Sp minus Sv is equal to R upon M0 into G. So this is the Maer's relation. This is the Maer's relation in the form of principal specific heat. And this is the relation. This is the Maer's relation in the form of molar specific heat. So actually, what happened in board exam? This question you may ask for 3 marks. Means derive the Maer's relation for the molar specific heat, either for molar specific heat or for principal specific heat. Even if you want to calculate the molar specific heat, then you will repeat the same procedure. If you want to find out the Maer's relation in terms of principal specific heat, then you have to use all these steps, and then Further, you have to modify this equation by using these basic concepts of principal specific heat and molar specific heat. Now, in the next lecture, we'll see monoatomic gases, diatomic gases, okay, and what are their conditions. Okay, thank you. The previous part in this recording, because I have not used the mic, so you might have some problem in hearing my speech, but I hope you will understand, or you will try to understand. And if you read it from the book, because the initial part is only a derivative part, okay, means it is just a different an equation for kinetic energy, which will give us the relationship between the temperature and energy. So I will repeat it in short. Okay. The initial equation, it was PV is equal to 1 by 3 Nm C bar square, where PV is the product of pressure and volume, 1 by 3 is the constant, N is the total number of molecules, M is the mass of single molecule, and this V bar square, this is square mean square velocity of the molecules. And by using this equation, our aim is to find out the relationship between kinetic energy and temperature. So I have given all the description. Okay, only the voice was not clear. So I will tell you this kinetic energy per molecule is equal to 3 by 2 into kV into T. So as this is the constant, what we can say, kinetic energy per molecule is directly proportional to the absolute temperature of the gas. Sometimes you may ask this question for 2 marks or for 1 mark. Okay, it is the supplementary question. Okay. So here I have finished this MERS relation. Now tomorrow, in tomorrow's lecture, we'll see monoatomic gases and diatomic gases. Thank you.